someone made a comment in Super Rugby reflecting on the early days of the Brumbies and something we did wrong. And Eddie made a very technical comment on their coaching at the New South Wales Waratahs. And I thought to myself, he is still watching every game in every competition across the globe. I realise he's on this podcast, so I don't want to be too glowing about my time with Eddie, but he's certainly the coach that brought the best down in me.
Well, on the basis that he won't be glowing about any player, Eddie, what was Roff? What was Joe like as a player and a person to coach?
I know how you described me before.
He was a match winner. That's the great thing. He used to win matches for his team. I'm interested about the comment 55 games. Joe would have loved that because he wouldn't have had to train. So he would have loved that. He wasn't the best trainer, Joe.
I do think, Eddie, I was reflecting on when we first met that, and my training ethic, that you probably hadn't come across someone like me all that much before. You were, as a player, a hooker for Randwick and did the hard work. And as a coach, you're in Japan where everyone trains diligently and it's a mantra. And then you've arrived at the Brumbies and we met. And, my first ever training session with the Brumbies, I just come off knee operations, and probably as a result of the 55 games, to be honest, as a young bloke. And the first training session, I couldn't train, so I did what all 18-year-old guys do. I took my shirt off and got a tackling bag, and I lay on it and I sunbaked while the rest of the team bashed each other. And I realised that you can't ever have a second first impression. And that's the first impression of my training ethic, and I've never been able to shake it ever since.
Any comment on that, Eddie?
No, I think it was a pretty good first impression. Look, Joe was a quality athlete, and I think now he'd probably flourish more. Back then, we were still learning about trying to get the best out of players, and I think with sports science and the advent of more specialised staff now, Joe would have probably had a longer career than he did. I don't know whether he wanted to play any longer. He what was your last game, mate? 13 for Oxford.
13 for Oxford, yeah. Age of 30, 31. And it was just time. It was just time for me, I think. Yes, you're right. I fundamentally disagreed with the notion that the wingers should do the same fitness as the props, and that it's one in, all in, and this whole that whole early coming to terms with professionalism was. I fundamentally disagreed with that. I was, I grew up doing athletics and various other things, and so this whole the more you run, the fitter you'll get was very simplistic to me, and didn't suit my approach to the game.